Hello everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. There is a massive craze right now for Ozempic for weight loss, and I want to share with you in this video big reasons why I personally would never use it for weight loss. I'm not talking about its use for type 2 diabetes, where it has been used for a little bit longer, although that does overlap with lifestyle medicine as well. I'm talking about the probably hundreds of thousands of people across America by now who are either using or thinking about using Ozempic for weight loss. They might be mildly overweight or obese, but they don't have diabetes. This is a craze. It is being dished out like candy right now, not only by doctors, but also in med spas across the country. There is nowhere near enough oversight of this. It hasn't been rolled out as widely across Europe, but in America, people can buy it pretty much anywhere they can get their hands on it if there is enough supply. So what is Ozempic? It belongs to a class of medications called GLP-1 agonists. The chemical name is Semaglutide. It's also known as Wegovy. Many of you may be familiar with it. You may know somebody who's on this medication. Maybe you've been on it or you are on it yourself. And I have seen so many side effects, adverse events myself. And these stories are widely available out there. And the reality is that when we see any type of craze in the field of medicine, the last 100 years teaches us that it usually doesn't end well. There is no such thing as a wonder miracle drug, especially in the field of lifestyle medicine. And I am concerned about this and the way it is being dished out and being used by so many people. And I'm going to explain to you big reasons why I wouldn't use it myself for weight loss. I wouldn't even consider it. Let me first share this recent tweet of mine with you, which I recently put out. Ozempic works just like opioids and Vioxx worked. The question is not whether it works or not. The question is the addiction, toxic side effects, and human misery that go with it. Yes, of course, Ozempic works. Any powerful injection, which in this case is a weekly injection which stops people from eating, which reduces the urge to eat, and therefore reduces the amount people take in, their calorie intake. Of course, that's going to work to lose weight, same way as taping somebody's mouth shut would work to reduce weight. The question is the drawbacks that come with it. So let's go. Here are my concerns. Number one, the side effects. Many people who start Ozempic have to stop very quickly because of the disabling side effects. It is not the most pleasant drug. Mostly gastrointestinal side effects, including nausea, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. Remember, this medication essentially works by paralyzing the stomach so that you don't feel hungry and you don't want to consume food. I also have some concerns over long-term effects on the pancreas and even concerns about long-lasting inflammation or even malignancy in the future. It's very difficult to tell with a relatively new drug which is being prescribed to a mass number of people. Remember, this is not only for diabetics, this is now being prescribed to potentially hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people, and only time will tell what sort of effects a powerful weekly injection will have on people. Number two, muscle loss. As well as losing fat, many people also lose muscle, and this is potentially a disaster on a metabolic level. I would hazard a guess that most people who are on Ozempic are not regularly visiting the gym, they're not lifting weights, they probably aren't consuming enough protein. And when anybody loses muscle, this is a big problem because muscle is metabolically very active and it plays an important role in many processes, including insulin sensitivity. Muscle loss is known as sarcopenia, and this is why when you look at many people, you may have seen the pictures online, people who've been on Ozempic for a long time, they start to look quite gaunt. They don't look healthy because they've also lost muscle in addition to the fat. Number three, the cost. This is a hugely expensive medication, thousands of dollars. Many people do a course of Ozempic for a few months and they pay out of pocket. It is unlikely that insurance is going to cover the cost of these medications anytime soon. Maybe the medications will come down in cost over time. But I did hear a statistic recently that if everybody in America who is overweight or obese was prescribed Ozempic and it was fully covered, that would amount to more than the GDP of the entire country. Several trillion dollars. Think about that. So people are paying out of pocket thousands of dollars for a course of Ozempic. And it never ceases to amaze me because many of these people, they aren't the richest people. It was a stretch for them to afford it. But actually, if they wanted to afford real wholesome food, even organic food, a personal trainer and a motivational coach who would talk to them every day, then that would actually be far cheaper than the amount spent on Ozempic. And it might sound like an easy option, an injection, but you have to ask yourself, is it sustainable, and what you're going to do when you're no longer on it? Because most people can't keep affording this medication over the long term. Number 4, my own intuition, my own common sense. When I look at this type of situation and consider the history of medicine over the last few decades, when you have this mass movement, I call them the medical mob, when they jump on board something which is obviously making a lot of money in the short term, it really does end up backfiring very badly indeed. And I really do want to have this conversation again in 5 years' time, when we have more stories about people who it hasn't worked for, when we can see more side effects and adverse events. Because the very idea that you can medicate, you can inject millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, many adolescents and children, with a medication every single week to stop them from eating and not address the toxic food environment is absolutely ludicrous. And my own belief system, the way I try to look at the world with logic, and also the fact that I am a huge fan of stoicism, tells me that this is a huge mistake. And the mob, as usual, will realize that they were doing everything wrong and weren't thinking about this problem in fundamentally the correct way. And number 5, the basic rule that there are no shortcuts in health. I'm sorry to have to tell you that, anyone who is under any illusion. Our body is millions of years in the making. It cannot be tricked so easily without consequences. Our body is very smart indeed. When most people in the Western world, especially in the United States, are surrounded by a toxic food environment, and we completely neglect to ask ourselves, why do we need these medications? Why did our grandparents and great-grandparents not need these medications? It is because we are surrounded by ridiculous food items, heavily processed, coming to us in packages. It is not natural. It is loaded with artificial ingredients, inflammatory ingredients, preservatives, fake sugars, seed oils. People eat way too many carbs and sugars. There are a whole host of things that we are doing wrong now that we didn't do wrong a few decades ago, and that is the fundamental issue. Until we address that, until we change the culture, throw in more activity, more exercise as well, only that will save people. And I'm sorry to have to tell anybody out there, Ozempic is not going to save you. Most people who are using this for weight loss are not taking the right lifestyle approach, the one that will lead to sustained improvements and you not being overweight or obese. That is a fact, and it is my duty as a doctor to be honest with people. That is why when most people stop Ozempic, they immediately regain the weight, because you haven't fixed the upstream problem. The fact that you are eating the wrong food every day. Nothing will save you from that fact. No injection. So it's in your best interest to really take a step back. Look at your lifestyle habits. This isn't easy. It takes determination. It takes motivation. But that is the only thing which is going to lead to improved health outcomes, and you keeping those pounds off and being the same shape as your grandparents and great-grandparents. For most of us, when we look back at pictures of our ancestors, they were in much better shape than the current generation. I mean, think about it on a logical level as well. This is an addiction issue. It's an addiction to the wrong types of food, and food corporations make their products highly addictive. They have scientists, the same scientists who worked for big tobacco once to make cigarettes addictive, now work for food corporations, and they know what they are doing, creating these highly addictive fake foods. Would we deal with an addiction to alcohol the same way? Would we say, oh yes, you can keep on drinking and we'll give you an injection every week to lower the chances of you getting liver cirrhosis? Oh, you're a smoker, you smoke cigarettes, carry on smoking. we'll give you an injection and maybe your risk of getting lung issues will be reduced. Absolutely not. We would deal with the root cause and we would say you must stop drinking alcohol and you must stop smoking if you have a problem. But we haven't reached the same level of enlightenment with ultra-processed foods and our toxic food environment. The only way to really sustain weight loss and get healthy is to eliminate that terrible food from your life. 70% of all calorie intake currently in the United States is ultra-processed foods. It's not far off in other Western countries, including the United Kingdom. But if we're serious about people being healthy, then that's what we should be focusing on. So I repeat again, number 5, there are no shortcuts in health and well-being. So those are some reasons then why I personally would never take Ozempic for weight loss. That would be my own decision. I would go the lifestyle route. And the truth is that well over 90% of people could do that as well. But I'm a great believer in healthcare freedom. Autonomy. Everybody is free to make their own choices, what they want for their own health. Interestingly, the company that makes this, Novo Nordisk, it is a company in Denmark, has grown absolutely massive. It's now a huge part of the Danish economy. Not so much from sales in Europe, but the United States is their mass market by far. And it's made this company very rich indeed. But I believe that this is going to backfire. Everybody who is overweight or obese and wants to deal with that, wants to fix a problem, has to think very carefully about how they are going to do that. But do not say you are not warned. You can weigh up the risks and benefits yourself and make the decision for yourself. But I repeat again, there are no miracle drugs out there and your body cannot be tricked so easily. Thanks everyone for watching. Feel free to share your stories down below. Are you familiar with Ozempic? Have you been on it? Do you know somebody who's been on it? Have you seen success? Have you seen failures? Have you seen bad side effects? Feel free to share your stories. I enjoy hearing from you. Check out my website and my free downloads. Those links are down below. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. We will speak again very soon.